Hi, welcome to my video on the review of exponentials with rational exponents. And as in previous reviews, you can treat it as a quiz where you can mark each question, give yourself the marks for each question, add up the total on the bottom of the page, and then total each page and get your score out of 42. Change it to a decimal by dividing denominator into numerator. Move your decimal 2 places to the right to get a percentage to find out how well you know rational exponents. Let's start the rational exponents. Change each to radical form, simplified. Radical form is root. Denominator is the index, the root 3, and this is x squared. Give yourself a mark. 2 to the 3/4 is the radicand is 2, the index is 4, and the exponent of 2 is 3, and that becomes 4. 2 cubed is 8, so 4 the 4th root of 8. Give yourself a mark if you have it right. Change each to exponential form. This is the square root. That's understood to be a 2, and that's a 1, so that's x to the 1/2, 1 mark. This is y to the 4/5, a mark. Now we have 3 square root 3. Because we have a 3 outside, that means it must have been a 9 on the inside to get the 3, because the square root of 9 is 3. And that gives us the square root of 3 times 3 times 3. And that's the square root of 3 cubed. And as an exponential is 3 to the 3/2, because square root is a 2. Give yourself a mark if you have 3 to the 3/2. And right here we have the 4th root of 2 to the 5th power. So the 5, we can change the inside to, that's the 4th root of 2. That's 2, and that's a 1. So that's 2 to the 1/4 to the 5th power. And this is a power of a power, so we multiply. So that's 2 to the 5/4, because 5 is over 1, and we multiply power of a power. Give yourself a mark. And write x to 2/3 is in exponential form 2 different ways. Well, one way is to go x to the 1/3 squared, because 2 times 1/3 is 2/3. Or you could have x squared raised to the 1/3 power. So if you have each of these, give yourself 2 marks. If you only have one, give yourself 1 mark. Number 4, simplify each. Because we have like bases, we write down the base of x and we add the exponents. Common denominator is 4. 3 plus 5 is 8, so we get x squared. Give yourself a mark. Like basis is y, and when we divide, we subtract the exponents, so 10/3 subtract -2/3, and a double negative is a positive, so that becomes y. Common denominator is 3. 10 plus 2 is 12, and that becomes y to the 4th power. Give yourself a mark. We have a power of a power, so we multiply. Because we have fractions, I'll cancel. 2 into 4 goes 2. 5 into 15 goes 3. We have a power of a power, so we multiply. So that's a to the 6. Give yourself a mark. D. What we have the x to the 1/5 being distributed through these two terms in here. So we get x to the 1/5 times x to the 9/5. Subtract x to the 1/5 times x to the 4/5. And because we're multiplying, we add. Common denominator is 5. 1 plus 9 is 10. Common base is x, and we add. So we got a 5 as the denominator. For 1 plus 4 is 5. So that makes it x squared minus x to the 1, or x. Give yourself a mark. The total for that page is 12. Hopefully you're doing okay. You know about rational exponents. Number 5. Factor each. To factor means we have to take out the common factor. So the common factor would be the smallest one, which is x to the 1/3. X to the 1/3 is common. So we take 4 over 3 and subtract 1/3. That gives us 3 over 3 or 1. So this is an x. And x to the 1/3 divided into x to the 1/3 is 1. So if you have x to the 1/3 times x plus 1, give yourself a mark. A common factor here, I'm going to say denominator again. Common factor is the smallest exponent, which is a negative 2/5. So we take the negative 2/5. X is x to the negative 2/5 is the GCF. So we take 8 over 5 and subtract negative 2/5. Double negative is a positive. That becomes 10 over 5, which is 2. So this is an x squared. Remember, when you take out the GCF, you're dividing the exponent, so that's why we're subtracting, and double negative is a positive. And x to the negative 2/5 divided into negative 4x to the negative 2/5 is just a negative 4. And notice that this binomial is the difference of two squares. So x squared is x and x. 4 is 2 and 2 with a plus and a minus. And notice that's an x squared minus 2 squared, the difference of 2 squared. And if you have this step, you get 1 mark. If you have factored further, you get another mark, 2 in total. Express each as a power of 3. So the 5th root, 9 is 3 squared. And as a power of 3, that's 3 to the 2/5. If you have 3 to the 2/5 power, give yourself a mark. 1, the 4th root, we change the 27 to a 3 cubed. So that's 1 over 3 to the 3/4. And we have it as a power of 3. So we have 3 to the negative 3/4. If you have that, give yourself a mark. And 1 over 81. 81 as a power of 3 is 3 to the 4th power. Maybe make that a big bracket there now. And x to the negative 3. So that becomes 3 to the negative 4, x to the negative 3. And we have a power of a power. So we need, notice we said a power of 3, so we need to express 81 as a power of 3 done. And that's 3. So we're power of a power, negative 4 times x, negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 3 plus 12. So we have 3 raised to the negative 4x plus 12. Give yourself a mark. Number 7. Express as a power of 2 simplified. Well, as a power of 2, that means 2 is the base, so 8 is 2 cubed. And square root of 2. And we change them to, notice we can't divide these because that's a 4th root and that's a square root. So if we change it to an exponential, then we can see what happens. So that's 2 to the 3/4 divided by, that's 2 to the 1/2 because that's a 2, square root and that's a 1. And that's 2 common, because we're dividing, we're going to subtract the exponents. So that gives us 2 to the 3/4. Subtract 2/4, common denominator. So that's 2 to the 1 over 4. So that's a 2 raised to the power. So if you did this step, you have a mark. If you did this one, you have a mark. If you did this one, you have a mark. Or if you did this one, you have a mark and a mark here. So 5 marks altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total low. If you have the right answer, just give yourself 5. Express as a single power. So because we have the same basis and because we're multiplying, we add. So 3/10 add on 4/10 all over x to the negative 1/5. And because we're multiplying like bases, we add the exponents, so that's 7/10 x to the negative 1/5. That becomes like bases we're dividing, so we subtract 7/10 subtract negative 1/5, and that's x to the double negative is positive, so that's 7/10 plus 2/10, so we get x to the, make that a 10, x to the 9/10. So we have x to the 9/10, 4 marks. 1 mark for that, 1 mark for that, 1 mark for the addition, and 1 mark for the final answer, 4 altogether. Totaled up your page out of 15. Okay, let's continue. Hopefully everything is going well. You know the rational expressions, a unit. Number 9, evaluate. Evaluate means find the value of. So we have 9, that's understood to be square root of 9, but that's easy, that's a 3. 27, we could do 27 is 3 cubed to the 2/3, the 3's cancel, so we get a 9. 16 to the 1/4, 16 is 2 to the 4, to the 1/4, the 4's cancel, we get 2 to the 1, which is 2, and we got a half raised to the negative 1, so a negative exponent flips the fraction or whatever this number is around, reciprocal of 2, and that gives us 12 over 4, which simplifies to a 3. So if you did this, each of these right, you get a mark each, that's 4 marks. If you did the top numerator and denominator separately, you get a mark, and if you did the final one, you get another mark. And so there's, if you did, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in total. If you did the numerator a mark, denominator a mark, and then division of for 3, 7 altogether. Number 10, solve for x. So we have exponents, rational exponents, so we multiply by the reciprocal, so which is 4 over 3. It's 4 over 3 for each power. They cancel out. 3's cancel, 4's cancel, give me x to the 1. And that's 8 cubed to the 4 over 3. The 3's cancel. I get 2 to the 4th, which is 16. Remember, another way to do this one could be the cube root of 8 in bracket to the 4th power. Cube root of 8 is 2 to the 4, which is 16. So 2 ways to do it. So if you have the 4th power done like that, you get a mark. If you simplify this to 16, you have a mark. 2 marks in total. And the last one to do, let's simplify this. So we have the cube root of x plus 1 to the 5th power. This is the square root of 9, which is a 3, so we do that first. Then we have to isolate. This is the cube root of x plus 1 to the 5th power. 2, 4, 6, 246 subtract 3. So we get the cube root of x plus 1 to the 5th power, and that's 243. Now we change this to an exponential, so this is x plus 1 to the 5 over 3, 243. And we do the reciprocal power, which is 3 over 5 of each side. And they cancel out, power over powers, that's 15 over 15, or you cancel the 3's and cancel the 5's, you get x plus 1. And 243, we got to break it down, so 243, let's see, 243, if you add up, you get 6, 9. That means, because this is a 9, it has a multiple of 3, so we'll divide by 3. 3 into 24 is 81. 81, again, it adds up to 9, so it's divisible by 3. That's a 27. 27 adds up to a 9, it's divisible by 3 again, we get a 9. 9 is 3 times 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 to the 5th power raised to the 3/5. So it's x plus 1. The 5's cancel. 3 to the cubed is 27. X equals 27 minus 1. X is 26. And you have 6 marks flowing here. So you got 1, 2, and you did the 5th power is 3. Or you can give a mark here if you get this far. You're subtracting. And if you did this correctly, you get another mark if you brought it over. So there's your 6 marks all together. If you get the final answer, you got an automatic 6. Total of your page out of 15. Total of all your pages is out of 42, which just brings back this page. And again, change it to a percentage by dividing denominator into this numerator and getting the decimal, moving it 2 places to the right. And this brings us to the end of this unit on rational exponents. And if you like my video and you like the unit, hopefully you learned a lot. Click on the like button, the subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber, and the notification bell, visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.